So I did it, but he didn't explain to me what alternate picking was. Yeah. So I went like another year without that. Then I got the first Michelangelo instructional video, the Starlix video, and he's like, you never pick 12 strokes in a row, you never pick 2 down strokes in a row, and you need a good hard pick like a Dunlap Jazz 3, right? So I went to Rudy's, bought my Dunlap Jazz 3, and I sat home for a summer, and I was, 16 at the time, so I didn't have anything else to do, and I learned how to alternate pick. I taught myself how to alternate pick, and it's been a lifelong thing to get my picking to where it is now. But it is patience. It's really slow, watching your hand in a mirror, not tensing your hand up, making sure that your hand looks okay when you're playing, make sure that your fingers don't come far
this is something I have to tell my drummer all the time, because, and lead guitar players definitely do this too. It's like you get something that's on the edge of what you can do, and you start rushing, and the feel just goes to shit.
Yeah.
And it's better to, I'm like, go do a damn shot of tequila or something, so you just got a little bit of an edge off.
See, for me, for me, I used to do that when I used to play in bar bands for many years.
I don't advocate that.
I played in cover bands for years, like where I was playing 5 nights a week, playing not top 40, but classic rock covers, everything from like AC/DC to The Clash to Zeppelin, whatever the fuck we could do, and it was great. I would play 6 hours a night. And I would do shots of Jack in the middle of whatever, and it wasn't technically demanding music, so I didn't really have to have my technique together.
Yeah, there's a diminishing return there at some point.
Yeah, but what happens is
you start sounding like Slash after a little while.
Yeah, you start sounding bad, Or getting back to what we were talking about before, the idea of like what would I do for your hands? There are a lot of like. There are a lot of exercises where, like, this is one that I used to do when I was trying to get my stretch down.
Oops, excuse me, guys.
Which is just like, however far you can stretch your hands, whether it's 4 frets, 5 frets, 3 frets, just isolate your pinky from the rest of your fingers. So you do like 1-4, then 2-4, and then 3-4. But rather than do it in one position, you go 1-4, 2-5, like that.
Slide them up fret, yeah.
Yeah, up and down like that. And then when you get up, what's going to happen is, and do it slowly, because when you do it slowly, I'm just going through them for sake of demonstration, but when you do them slowly and you break down your movements and make sure that these movements
are Joe's been doing these for 25 years, so that was slow for him.
But I think relative. The other thing, John, I think the other thing that, again, it needs to be reiterated, is that when you get into your 40s, your body starts behaving differently than it was in your 20s and your 30s. And
I noticed
it's very important. Look, Joe's using yoga, Joe's doing a lot of stretching exercises, Joe's playing constantly. For those of us who are not, I would really continue to recommend going to a lighter gauge string as you get older.
I don't know about that. I don't know.
I have so many people who just
works for some people.
Blowing out their hands.
I might have to try going down to.
They're trying.
I'm gonna try it next time, I think, because I've been 10 to 46s.
Yes, I used 10 to 46s too.
Years.
But like one of the things that
it's freezing.
One of the things that I always recommend about like for me, I'm 38 now, right? And the last time I was playing in a band, seriously, I was 32. I was playing with Amy. And so what happened was, I've been playing, teaching, and doing stuff like that, but I wasn't really playing shows. And there's a whole different level of stamina that you need to play a fucking show.
Yes.
Oh, it's totally different. It's totally different. It's even different than rehearsal.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, and again, I play 4 hours a day, always, every day. 2 hours minimum, 4 to 6 hours usually.
Like a 3-hour gig can feel like an 8-hour.
Forget it, man. It's terrible. And I was wondering why all this shit was going on with my hands. Why my hands weren't doing what they would do normally. And it took a long time for me to get that my hands back in shape, or where I felt like they were in shape.
Yeah.
And get certain things like, the really fast picking down and stuff like that, because I wasn't really concentrating on doing that for long periods of time. Stamina. There is no substitute for playing gigs. Billy Sheehan, one of my favorite Billy Sheehan quotes is, 1 gig is worth 100 rehearsals.
And the stamina thing definitely does become an issue as you get older. You have to start making sure that you drink enough water,
that
you're
enough water, vitamins and stuff like that.
You gotta take care of yourself.
Doing this exercise helps.
The Michelangelo exercise.
Well, you know what? The reason why I like doing this, and it's got nothing to do with Michelangelo or Flash, it just makes your pinky your lead finger, and it does something that it wouldn't normally do.
Works in a different way.
Yeah, it works in a different way. So I'll do it every once in a while. I don't do it every day. But sometimes it came from working in a guitar store and, having to set up guitars for people and going like this with the guitar on my lap. It wasn't a Jeff Healey thing. It just kind of worked out that it was like that. And I found that my pinky was getting stronger by doing that. So it was kind of a goof. A lot of the things that I've learned over the years of playing have either been mistakes that I've made that I've then had to go relearn how to do correctly, or picking stuff up from articles. I mean, we've all quoted a bunch of different players tonight. One of the things that I say to all my students is, just because you're taking lessons from me, I'm not the be-all I know of your guitar knowledge. Right. I don't know how you guys were, but when I was a kid, I would buy every single guitar magazine that was available.
I still do.
Every month. Yeah, I mean, I remember when
I fly a lot on business. I pick them up everywhere, man.
Yeah,
I got them all though.
I get bored, I buy one.
Dude, I have hundreds of them sitting in my basement that I'll never get rid of. I refuse. I don't care.
I got a lot too. I got tab books, and I've saved all my lessons, and I got transcriptions of all kinds.
So I have a crazy.
It's funny though. It's the stuff that I read when I was the youngest that had the most impact. Yeah. That's the stuff I still remember.
Yeah, I mean, there's things that I
like Billy Gibbons, that quote, Billy Gibbons, put it on 10 and grand, that's from him.
Yeah.
And, you just gotta...
I got to take this group Joe Satriani lesson back in...
really?
Yeah, back in '89.
Oh, yeah, you posted about that.
It was like 12 of us, and, we were in like a studio room in New York, and, he came in and showed us a bunch of different things, and the coolest thing, the amazing thing to watch him do was that exercise where because people were asking, what about, your legato, and he had this thing he would do with all your fingers, and he could trill with his pinky like that. It was just crazy.
Yeah.
So that is a bitchin' exercise. And I just sit at my house sometimes, like when I had a TV, and I'd just be like,
yeah.
It's one of those
that's
things
when you gotta watch though. You gotta watch it. You don't do that when you're
wrong. Really get that butterfly, that hummingbird wing thing going. And playing without an amp, I think, is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, man. I grew up in a really small apartment in New York, so I couldn't have an amp. Like I had an amp, but we never plugged it in. So I still to this day, 90% of my playing is an electric guitar unplugged.
So that was something I've always been trying to, but man, just to see him how he did it, with the fluidity, man. Whoa.
That last one though, man, that 4 to 3 there. If you try to do that too fast, and you're not physically ready to do it, that will screw your hand up quicker than.
But one of the other big things.
Put it right in the ditch.
Babies will die.
Yeah, I mean, one of the other big things about you were asking before about problems kids have, or teach as a teacher. It's teaching people how to do hammer-ons and pull-offs, especially pull-offs. A lot of people don't get the physical motion of the pull-off. Yeah. A lot of people think that just by lifting your finger off the string, you're going to get a note. They don't realize that you're actually plucking it.
You're plucking it out.
Yeah, and one of my favorite modern players is Guthrie Govan, who's another guy that came into my old store. Dude, Guthrie came into my store once when I was working on 48th Street, and I had no idea who he was. And I was like...
It was this aqualung looking dude.
Yeah, I was like, who is that? I thought he looked like Gandalf the Grey.
Hello.
I was like, who's this Gandalf the Grey looking guy? And he was with the guy who was the singer in Yes at the